now. Here is Mario Diaz. I mean, yeah, this is, okay, this is just his shot. So they are in and safe. That's over on the west end of the island in Galveston. I'm going to hush for a second because I want you to hear the wind. Listen to this. I think that was a transformer right there. Yep.
And now those lights are gone.
And now those lights are gone. There you go. That's a perfect indicator of what we're probably going to start seeing as this moves in towards, you know, parts of Brazoria County, Wharton, going up into Sugar Land, going in towards parts of Harris County. I wouldn't be shocked out in Waller County near Sealy if folks are going to start losing power here in the next 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah, and speaking of power outages, I mean, we've been monitoring CenterPoint Energy. Right now they're showing about 49,000 customers without power. They don't have that power outage map up anymore that we saw at the beginning of the Durate show. So people are like telling them, we can see on Twitter, like so we can see where the outages are.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still relatively low, but just about 15 minutes ago, you said it showed 21,000.
21,000, right.
So
doubled it basically. And then some.
And I know a lot of those Galveston County areas, I'm sorry, they're not even with CenterPoint. That's Texas, New Mexico power. So those are probably not outages where we're seeing all of our crews right now.
Yeah. And we're also going to be dealing with, you talked about this earlier, is tornado warnings that are possibly going to be popping up as the storm makes its way north.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be shocked to that. If you remember during Harvey, we saw tornado warnings that were up across parts of Fort Bend County, and there was multiple, I mean, dozens of them at this point, right? I remember when Frank and I were here, I had actually just balled up a bunch of pieces of paper like on our legal pad here, just to kind of throw at the anchors to say, hey, I got a new one, I got a new one, I got a new one, right? So I think that is a threat as we transition, as the storm starts to move inland and we start to get some of the frictional effects. It slows down a little bit and you get that whipsaw, and that's when we'll start to see those tornado warnings. I would not be shocked to see those by 6, 7 a.m. this morning. But I heard we just have Mario who's out right now. Mario, 1, are you safe? 2, give us the latest of what's happening with your conditions.
No, we're safe. We've had 2 transformers go off here, Justin, in the last few minutes. I heard one just went right across from the other side of this wall here. I got this bad boy right here blocking me on the wind, so we kind of set up a little bit of a barrier. Storm tracker helping us here, but the moment you go right outside of it, right, you're dealing with this, and that's the reality. So we're going to go back into the area where we're at. You saw the power go out when we had that live shot from my photojournalist Roger Franco. Great thing about this complex we're at, they've had multiple backup generators engaged, so power's back on in the complex, and there are people here who are riding this storm out. The question, though, obviously, though, Justin, as you see these winds intensify, these winds are much stronger than what we've been seeing here throughout the course of the evening, and this has just happened here in the last 10 minutes. The question is, how much further are they going to get in terms of their speed and their power, and how long will it last? Because behind this wind is obviously the surge, and that's what's helping bring this water up, and that's located just about a quarter of a mile from where I stand right now. So that's the concern for not only the residents here, but Justin, also for us, because we're trying to identify at what point, with the high tide coming in about 4 hours, do we start searching for our own higher ground with regards to storm tracker.
I think that's a very good decision there, Mario. I would say, you know, you guys have probably, I think your conditions are going to stay pretty nasty there within the next hour before you may see them back off just a bit. So the eye wall is just about to come on shore near East Matagorda Bay. So you guys are caught in one of those outer bands, right? So you're caught in one of those outer bands right now, but it's just close enough to the eye wall that you're getting sort of a double whipsaw effect, which is why those wind gusts are starting to clock closer to 80, 85, almost 90 miles an hour. And that's why the conditions that you've been seeing that you had, you just mentioned a second ago, 2 transformers down. It looks like at least where you're at there, I can see that street light is on. So that spot has power, correct?
No, yeah, but that spot, when I started my live shot, that light right there, it was out. It was completely out. It's because of the transformer, excuse me, the backup generators that they have here at this location that they were able to get the light back up. And I also want to bring you into perspective here with regards to what we're talking about with our other vehicle that got caught up with some water. Just look at the height that we're talking about with these vehicles, right? Yeah. These are our storm tracker vehicles. You have big tires, high water vehicles. the door, you got to really climb in to get into it, right? You got to step up here and then really get up high. And yet to think about how the guys down in Matagorda, Gage and Oscar, our photographer there, our photojournalist, were impacted by the bay coming in and getting up to the height of this. Just shows you how much water and how quickly it's moving. And we're obviously, Justin, relying on you and Caroline to give us the information to make sure that we can start getting out of here at a time before, again, that high tide is set to come in.
Yeah, I think you've probably got at least an hour, maybe 90 minutes before you'll have to start making that decision. But obviously, you know, you're out there in the field right now. If it gets unsafe, you guys make the signal and get to higher ground, and we'll find you when you're in a better spot.
Yeah, and keep in mind, this is the west end. As you mentioned, that seawall.
Is that
there
a
goes another transformer.
Yep,
Did you guys hear that one?
Yep.
Yeah, it went that one. That one just went there. I was expecting that at some point to happen. And you know, if you ever been in a hurricane like this is normal. The lights start to flicker green and blue, and that's the transformers that start to go. And that's when you know the storm is coming in your direction, and it's starting to really intensify. I remember during Laura, I was out in Beaumont, and first the power goes out in the strip mall, and goes, there goes the power. And at that point, you know the power. Oh, there it goes again. There's another transformer. Wow, second time.
Wow.
Look, right behind me now. Watch. It's all out, and let's give it some time because it takes about 1 minute for the backup power inside of this area to start to kick in, and let's see if it does again. But this is what happens once that storm starts to show up. There it is.
There you go. And you're in a parking garage for a condominium complex there on the west end?
Yeah, it's a condominium complex. It's literally, Amy, it's right on the other side of the San Luis Pass coming into Galveston from Surfside.
Okay.
And it's right there.
Yeah.
So you have, we're going to do a quick wipe. Forgive us. It's live television in the middle of a hurricane. But we've got the power comes right back on. It's a more modern complex that they've built here, you can tell. And that has happened 4 times already. And each time the power has come back on. But I'm starting to look over here at this one pole over here. It's going to force us to move. Yeah. We're starting to see on that pole that it's going to force us to move here real soon.
Well, that would be
there it goes again.
Yeah, there it goes. Yeah,
too.
I was going to say, I think it's probably time for you guys to head in and pick another location. That's getting a little dangerous there, Mario.
Well, let's wrap things up. That's it for us right now.
Right.
We're out of here. We'll talk to you guys in a bit, okay, guys?
Yeah, definitely
Mario,
stay safe
you.
out there.